Mr. President, I was in the meeting when Julius Berger was asked to come. They failed to come for the first time. And the minister was there. And we decided that we should give them a second chance. A letter was written to them by the clerk of the committee. Again, they failed to come. But I thought, Mr. President, the committee has all the powers to compel Julius Berger to appear before the committee. We don't have to bring this issue to this hallowed chamber. Yeah, no. Let me learn, please. Then you can talk. Under the 1999 Constitution, the committee has the power to compel any agency of government, any minister, to appear before it. And if he fails to appear before it, we can invoke that particular section of the Constitution and even cause him to be arrested and to be brought to either the committee or to the chamber. So we have not exhausted that at the committee level. So I believe we should first and foremost deal with the matter at the committee level, compel Julius Berger to appear before the committee and hear why they could not complete the road after collecting colossal amount of money. As far back as 2020, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I was on this particular road on oversight, and at that time, all the contractors working on that particular road were on site except Julius Berger. When we came back to Abuja, we called them, and they said they have submitted a request for variation because of escalation of prices. The ministry is yet to give them a go-ahead. And this has been the matter since then. Mr. President, I'm not in support of what Julius Berger is doing. What they are doing is certainly condemnable, but bringing them to this chamber or discussing them about, discussing the issue in this chamber will amount to elevating them. We should deal with it at the committee level. I also submit, Mr. President.
I think before we proceed here, which all of us know here, every person that has been within the... Well, I'll give you the chance to speak. I'll give you. Normally, if a committee summons any person or entity to come for a committee hearing, and that entity does not send a representative or do not appear in any way, the normal thing is to report to the presiding officer, and then warrant will be issued. Well, before that, even there will be some communication. Come. Thereafter, there will be issue of warrant to compel that person to come. If that is the case, then of course this motion is not necessary because it's a matter of procedure, and we know it. Anybody within the legislature for a long time is experienced in this in the legislative work will understand that. There's no need for motion. Yes, no, yes, no, but he raised a fundamental issue. You talk, but it's good when somebody is raised an issue which we know, we need to voice it out. Senator Ningi.
My name is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Central of Bauchi State. Mr. President, let me begin with the issue of procedure. The committees, of course, derive their powers from the Senate standing rules. The Constitution gives the National Assembly such powers. There is no way, there is nowhere in other paper, nor in the powers and privileges of the National Assembly, does a committee chairman is saddled with the capacity to compel. It is the presiding officer that confers. And therefore, when a matter of this nature is brought before a house, the committee now seeks the mandate of the entire Senate. The mandate of the entire Senate is quite different from the mandate of a committee superintended by a chairman. So I don't want us to dilute this matter. This matter, Mr. President, should not be diluted. It is a serious problem. And it is not just Julius Berger, like I said. Most of the committees have been having a running battle with agencies, MDAs, because they don't think this National Assembly is so serious. I don't know how we arrived at this particular situation. I was a committee member. I was at the hearing, and I raised this particular matter, whereby a committee, a competent committee, will send an invitation. Sometimes even permanent secretaries will not come. Sometimes the ministers will not come. Sometimes they send far inferior officers. And they come, and our hands are so tight. Mr. President, this is an independent legislature. This is not a subsection of the presidency. The National Assembly is an independent body. Look at Section 4 of powers and privileges of the National Assembly. And they can make laws on anything, over anything, at every given time. And therefore, I summon anybody, whether you are in government, whether you are not in government, whether you are a businessman, and here we are saddled with a very unfortunate malady. Ask any committee chairman whether he's not having issues with attendance of head of NDS or ministries. But somehow, because of the Nigerian factor, you try to compel, you try to use their power. People who come from all sorts of directions. Please, he's a member of our party. Please, he's a Yoruba man. Please, he's from Bauchi State. And these are happening, these are recurring dismal in our functions. And therefore, I have not seen for a very long time when Julius Berger appeared before the Senate. I have not seen for a very long time. And when Senator Haliru, with all sense of responsibility, said the committee should, and I want Haliru to tell us, how will the committee do? What can the committee do? The only way the committee can do, the only thing, is to reach out to a presiding officer, and compel. But here, the committee is not actually asking the buy-in of a presiding officer. Mr. President, the committee is not asking for a buy-in of a presiding officer. The committee is asking for a buy-in of the Senate. The Senate, Mr. President, is bigger than a presiding officer. Once senators are in concurrence as to what we do, as long as we do not violate these rules, as long as the rule is complementary to the Constitution, the presiding officer cannot say no. The presiding officer, of course, is just but one of us. And therefore, this particular motion is not calling for a buy-in of a presiding officer. It's calling for a buy-in of the Senate in its entirety. And therefore, the question is whether or not the Senate agrees with the resolution and the fact of the matter. Mr. President, lastly, if we continue to dilute matters of this nature, like this, in a manner that we're trying to do, then you go out there, you are taken for a ride, nobody respects you, and therefore we have to look inwards. Why are we getting some of this expectation? Why are we not getting the required attention from MDS? Is it about the institution? Is it about individuals? Is it about our processes? Then we need to sit down as a House, as a Senate, to reflect going forward what we need to do. But so far, the impression out there is that anybody can refuse to come and nothing happens. And that is the fact of the matter. Thank you, Mr. President.
A lot has been said on this matter, and a lot of sentiments and emotions have been evoked. We can see that there's clear anger at the clearly uncooperative attitude of a contractor. What I'm saying should not be construed to mean a support of that. I want to align myself respectfully, even though I agree with the sentiments and emotions and some of the reasons given. I want to respectfully align myself with the position earlier canvassed by Senator Haliru in terms of procedures. Let me begin by saying that with the concerns we are now hearing about even officials of the executive arm not honoring invitations and summons, there are so many reasons we can't disclose fully here about what has to be done differently by members, by committees, and also the leadership. I believe that those matters, as we say in my place, and the German will say, the stomach of a crocodile should not be opened in the marketplace. Because you don't know if you will see, you can't be too sure what you will find inside. So I will respectfully suggest that when we have an executive session, properly convened, at the right time, we can examine all those issues that have to do with conduct, that have to do with standards, and so on, by members, by committees, by chairmen, and by the leadership. Now, coming to this, I am a believer of the fact that this plenary, the plenary of the Senate, is a sacred place. And that's why I've never been in support. It's only very rare cases that I will support a situation where even people come here on plenary to make statements. This plenary, anytime we are meeting in plenary and the mace is lying there bearing the insignia of the country, solemn, it means that this is the meeting of Nigeria. This is the meeting, anytime we are meeting in plenary, is a meeting of the Federal Republic of Nigeria by its elected senators. So that is why I've always not been in support. That is why I agree with the views by Senator Haliru that in the case of disobedience or recalcitrance by people invited, that the committees already have by the rules, by our rules, and by also the Constitution, the powers have been vested in the committees to compel attendance. To compel attendance. The procedure is there. And they will make an application to the presiding officer, who will now sign the necessary proceedings. So I agree that even discussing a corporate entity, no matter how big, no matter how we're elevating them. That's why I say we should protect the sanctity of the plenary. So to that extent, I spoke in support of this road. I sat in those proceedings. I saw the minister. I attended to give support to it. But I think that we should not elevate a company to the level where senators of the Federal Republic would begin to talk about. Our committees have the powers to deal with it. If we need to issue a warrant, if the committee needs to compel the attendance with a warrant, the powers are already there. They will make a necessary application to the presiding officer, even today. But I caution that we should not, even in that, we should not take decisions out of emotions or out of anger. There should be effort made to put across so that this Senate, like equity, and equity like a court, should not act in vain. We should not act in vain. Where a company, no matter how big, will now come and begin to, no. I think that's why I support Senator Haliru's position. I agree with my good friend. It's one of the first times we'll be disagreeing, but we are united. All of us are united about how to get people to respect the authority of the Senate or of any committee. If you disrespect a committee, you are disrespecting the Senate. You are disrespecting the National Assembly and the Constitution of the country, which we shouldn't allow. But there are ways.
Thank you very much. You've made your point.
To go about it so that we don't accelerate or promote them too much. Thank you very much.